Rock and roll. All right, guys. Leadership Equipping 2023, May 22nd. Oh yeah, I don't see Canton on here. That's different and unique. No Canton. Stephanie, if you don't mind, if you could just message one or both of them just to see if one of them's getting on, that'd be super helpful. If you don't mind doing that. All right, these calls, they usually are around about $1.15. This one will run a little bit deeper. I do apologize in advance, but just think about all those times that you could sit in front of Netflix and just sit there and watch show after show after show, and you do that on any given week, right? Maybe, who knows? My goal is not to eat up a ton of time, but we only do this once a month, and this is sort of a big topic. I'm going to go into a variety of places with said topic, and hopefully we'll accomplish what I'm seeking to accomplish with this. So it will go north of 115 here, or in my time, it's going to be 215. So just take stock of that. Again, I know some parks need to get open, or maybe you have a group coming in, whatever it may be. Guest comes first. If you got to break away, got to break away. We do record this for that reason. All right, so about this call, you guys have been on this before. This is an hour plus of just leadership equipping. We've talked about a variety of topics over time, and those are all available on YouTube if you want to go back and watch those. We're doing these once a month right now. Beyond that, guys, how to use the call, just keep it really straight and simple. If you engage, and I mean truly engage, don't be passive, don't be pulled back, don't just be in observing mode, but if you're engaged, you will be transformed as a leader, bar none. You have to interact with it, right? You can't roll up to the gym and sit in the car and hope that you're going to get a good workout. That's not how this works. You got to engage, you'll be transformed, and out of that will come actions out of your leadership style, out of your managing style that will produce results in the business. It's always the case. So engage, be transformed, and act out of that. So, icebreaker, what is your favorite brand and why? Do you have a favorite brand of something? What is it? Feel free to unmute. Let's not all do that at the same time, please, so we don't get any kind of feedback. Or just add your voice to the chat as we've done historically. That'd be super helpful. Favorite brand and why?
I'm a big Skechers fan, and I'm a Skechers fan because my feet are a little bit wider, so they tear shoes apart, and they tend to last for the long term. Like, you get what you pay for them.
Wonderful. Sounds sketchy. I love it. Good stuff. Who else? Who else is out there? Favorite brand?
I just bought a pair of shoes called Hey Dude shoes. I don't know if anybody's ever heard of Hey Dude shoes, but literally they're one of the most comfortable shoes I've ever worn in my life. So Hey Dude shoes are awesome.
Just learned about them in Branson this weekend. My in-laws apparently buy them and had to go in that store.
Yeah, and I got them at an outlet store too, and it's pretty cool. So I'm wearing them right now.
Come on in.
They look like boat shoes.
Nice. Thank you for that. And welcome. I'm sorry that you're in the room with Aaron.
Welcome, Lance.
He's a special boy.
Awesome. Chick-fil-A, Nike for sure. Nike for sure, Madison. Why Nike? Why Nike? Just do it? That's the reason? Why?
No, they just have very good athletic clothes, and I'm a very athletic person, so that's why I go for Nike.
Fair enough. Fair enough. I like it.
I was like, I do.
The only pair of jeans I wear.
Like, I wear Under Armour shoes just because good for like running on gravel and all that stuff with all the shooting competitions I do. So don't slip on gravel too much with the something that goes bang.
Boom. I love it. I love how everyone's talking about shoes because that was my go-to. I wear a running shoe called, the brand is called Saucony. I actually have a sticker on, it's the only sticker I have on the outside of my laptop. It says Saucony. Do they make the best shoe on the planet? Probably not, but that's not why I buy into them. They make a high quality shoe. I like their style, their styling. It is a running shoe, like I said. They are not cheap necessarily, but I always get them when they're on the discount or on the clearance. I get last year's model, that sort of thing. I have a wider foot myself. But really it's a combination of all the things I said, but it's also, it's because they have great customer service. You know, I had a bad pair once and they like not only refunded the shoe, but gave me additional monies towards a better shoe. So that was like, no questions asked. Just send a picture. This didn't last more than a few weeks of just running. boom, I was off to the races. And now I've been a fan of theirs for about 4 or 5 years. So there you go. Any other brands out there? Any other brands?
Recently, I've been a fan of the Costco Kirkland brand. Really good value. Sometimes it's almost like the real deal, but just rebranded Kirkland. So that's why I've been a fan of it.
I love the Kirkland brand. They may be the only jeans I wear. Sorry, Hannah. I actually have a couple pair of Levi's too, but it is, yeah, I love Kirkland brand stuff. It is often, like you said, Kevin, it could be like the real deal. It's like Starbucks, right? They're roasting the beans, whatever, and they're doing it under the label of Costco or Kirkland's. Yeah, and I just love Costco. It's like, I just love going to Costco. It really is kind of one of those experiences for me, and it's a warehouse, for crying out loud, and yet I find it to be amazing. So anyhow, awesome, guys. Thank you so much for that. I appreciate it. Well, more on that in a bit when we talk about branding and we talk about why you love what you love, favorite brand, that sort of thing, and appreciate that, guys. So moving on, we're to talk about playing daily. What a weird topic of choice when this is AKA all talking about leading in the area of sales. And boy, do we need sales. There's leadership in all sorts of shapes and sizes. We need leadership in risk management areas. We need leadership in succession planning, building teams, guest experience, you name it. But we also need leadership in the area of sales. And that leadership goes to each and every one of you. How do we lead each and every day to really drive results, to create that value for our guests? Yes, through guest experience, but also just sell. Sell each and every day and make that something we just do. Just like checking a waiver, I'm going to sell, I'm going to pitch to every guest every time, no excuses. So we're talking about playing daily. So when you hear sales, how do you feel? And I want honest takes. What do you feel when you hear sales? A couple of you. The rest of you put it in the chat. What do you hear? What do you hear when you hear sales? Don't be shy.
Manipulation.
Whoa, that's up there for me too. All my years of selling, that was something. Absolutely, manipulation. Thank you, Matt, for going first, being bold. Good stuff, good stuff. What else? What else?
Convincing.
Convincing. That's not manipulation. Now you're convincing. Okay, fair enough. I like it. One more.
I hear sales and I honestly get a little bit of excitement because I think of what tomorrow will look like if we do what we need to today with the sales end. I'm very sales oriented. So I just think of it and I'm like, let's do this. And then like competitiveness comes up and just the overall excitement of it comes up, which is kind of against or different than what they were saying. But that's truly what happens in me.
No, and I believe it. I see it and I believe it. Great answers all the way around. All honest answers. I appreciate that. Emma, you're sitting right next to Stephanie. Reach out and grab what she just said. You need a little bit of that in your world too, right? She's wondering, yeah, me? Yes. Yes, you. Yes. Calling you out on here, but in a good way. Obviously, as a developing leader, the more you can get that in your makeup as a leader, each shift, each day, having that sort of pursuit of sales, it will take you a long way. That's awesome. But it's not purely about sales. But as we move forward here, I do want to kind of unpack how we feel about sales. Well, there's this thing called Innovative Heights, and then there's this thing that we call selling, and you see it in all shapes and sizes. We see shares from it. We see it on smart segments. We see it around little
Is anybody else frozen?
Nope. Yeah. Lance
No.
is pieced out.
I think it's
Yeah,
just Lance.
I think just Lance.
Oh, okay. Thought it was my computer. All right.
It was just getting good too. Hey, while we're waiting for Lance to come back, has anybody played around with smart segments?
Yeah,
Only a little bit. I'll tell you one thing that is really, and I was talking with Lance this morning, and I'll talk with Michael later today, is going in and looking at your prior year sales to see what you got to beat for the day, for the week, for sales projections. It's super simple in there. And you literally go back to a year ago, May 21st, I think it is the Monday. So you go Monday to Monday, Tuesday to Tuesday, all that stuff. And to bring up your park sales and all that stuff for your sales projections for your schedules, all that super fast, super easy to do. So as you're setting goals and tracking all that, it's a great way for you to just have your numbers really quick at the tip of your fingers. We'll do some training on it on one of the calls here that we're having for everybody.
Is there for smart segments, is there a way that are we going to be using that for our end of day notes? Because like right now, I think it's not fast enough for us to use. Is that the plan to like start using smart segments for a lot of our sales numbers now?
Eventually, yeah. But for right now, until we can have it all fleshed out, just continue to use roller reports. Like nothing's changed for you.
Sweet. Cool. Just
Great
curious.
question. It really is more for reporting and looking back and all of that kind of stuff. Because like as Shannon told you, it pulls throughout the day. So like right now, if you go in and look, if you guys had any sales in, actually this morning, I don't know if you guys looked at your dashboards, but some of you had $500-600 in renewed memberships to start the day. It was one of our better days to start, which is great, which is the whole point of why we're doing memberships. But you can pull that up early in the morning and it will show, hey, this is all the parks, what they've got for memberships in the bank already. But then it won't pull again till probably 1 or 2 o'clock. I'm not quite sure the time.
That was on smart segments or that was on roller?
Smart segments.
Oh.
Yeah, I did a screenshot. I should have saved it. But when I ran it this morning, I think we had like almost 4,000 as Innovative Heights in the bank, just to start the day off.
Pretty snazzy.
Yeah. In fact, let me do it right now just to see if anybody's pulled anything. Lance back yet? He's still.
No.
He might still be talking to himself.
That's why I tried to type in the chat, see if he let's see.
Yeah, so just looking here real quick, we're waiting for Lance. This morning, it looks like Fairview already has some sales that totaled in, but Canton had $531 in renewed memberships. Fenton, I don't think that number is right. It says 600. Fort Lauderdale 48, Grand Rapids 90, Madison 74, Milwaukee at $619, Murfreesboro 541, and Shelby 672 of renewed membership. So it's a good way to start the day.
Everybody should blow up Lance's chat.
Hey, Wade, when you're looking at that smart segments, can you go over the categories? Like it says I have some in F&B already. Is that just online sales then, or is that tied into memberships?
That's a good question. I'll have to go back and look at it. I'm trying to call Lance right now.
What does the word say on your dog's nose behind you, Wade? Is it boop?
Yeah, with the two nostrils.
Oh. Cute.
That's so
cute.
His nose is that big too. That's like life size. He's a monster dog.
Is that a German Shepherd?
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. All right. Well, while we're waiting for Lance, I'll do a little show and tell here with you. How about that? So smart segments here, very easy to use. So like today, if you can select here, do today, it'll apply, and this is what it'll bring up. But date range, it's very easy. You can select. So if you go back to last week, and it's just something to point out for everybody here. When you look at this for last week, this is not, we typically look at 454, which means we look at a Monday to a Monday, a Tuesday to a Tuesday, where this is true last year's sales, month to date sales. So these numbers aren't, from a month to date perspective, they're accurate and they're right. But from a true 454, what we look at, they're off. We're in the process of getting this rewritten on the back end. So when you go to look, it'll actually show your 454 sales count. But last week we had Murfreesboro and Shelby even to the 454. Were the two parks that comped in sales last week. So this is something I look at every day. I mean, I literally go in and I look at this every single day, and I'll go in here and look at yesterday's sales as example, and pull it real quick just to see where the parks are at from a sales perspective. And there we go. So there's everybody's sales, just like that. Got yesterday's numbers. And then the other things that I look at is like, obviously memberships are in here. So when I pull the membership sales, if you want to see how everybody's doing, you can literally just go right in here and pull in the sales. So yesterday I just take a look at these numbers real quick, and here's all the parks and their membership numbers just very quickly. So you can see these are new, and if there's reoccurring memberships that happen on that day, and kind of see the totals. For the promos and specials, that's where the summer pass revenue is at. So right here, you can see all the park summer passes, and this is for the date range 15 through the whatever, and Lance is back, I think, because he just kicked me out.
Did I kick you out?
Yeah, that's fine. So we lost you. No, we lost you at the screen of, you were showing the screenshots of memberships and selling and all that.
A history of selling?
Yeah, either go back or go forward.
Yes.
No, this screen there.
This one?
Yeah, that's where we lost you.
Beautiful. All right. So really,
Is
what
it
it
still
comes down
recording,
to,
by the way, on your
it
end?
is recording. Yes.
Okay.
Should be.
Okay.
Excellent. I've never had it drop me off like that. My apologies, guys. All right, start the video. Back in action. All right, guys. So what I was getting at is we have no shortage of sales initiatives through the day, reminders coming through WhatsApp, through emails, through Eagles Nest. Somebody reaching out to you saying, hey, let's go, let's go, let's go. And the pressure just builds. The money's burning. The days are short. Pressure, pressure, pressure. Let's be honest. Most of us feel that at one time or another. Pressure is a big part of it. So moving on, guys, I want to talk a little bit about a history of selling, in particular my history. I won't bore you with the details, as I just told the story to apparently no one. So I'm not going to go into the deep dive here, but I wanted to build some credibility for those that don't know. I do have a background in selling. I've done some door-to-door stuff, but that was a little part of my background. I did a lot of retail sales, and I did fairly well for myself. Worked in the world of Toys R Us many years ago now. I was a seasonal cashier, worked my way to become a part-time guy, then a full-time guy. That kept me around long enough to take a chance on making me a manager of sorts. But within my first year of selling, essentially as a sales associate, I led in some key categories, and I was sat down by my manager, the one that took a shot at me in the way of selling, or in the case of managing, becoming a manager. And he said, you know, Lance, I got to tell you, man, if you could sell crap off a peg hook, is what he told me. And you can imagine my initial response was probably something along the lines of, well, awesome. And then I really let those words sink in. What do you mean I can sell crap off a peg hook? are you saying that what I'm selling or anything I can sell, even if it's something that I shouldn't be selling, somebody will buy? That felt like manipulation. It felt like I'm really good at being kind of disingenuous and getting people to do certain things on my behest. Now, that's not what he meant, of course, but I took that. And for years, I struggled at times with, areas of selling where it's like I'm being told I need to. And I worked for some managers that were not the nicest managers around this area, right? You have to sell or else, right? They would get these short-term gains from myself or others because there was a threat associated with it versus, well, let's do it because it's the right thing to do. And I hope you get that out of this conversation, that we sell because it's the right thing to do, otherwise known as the greater good. But when I wasn't in the retail world, I eventually moved into what I call the Field of Dreams. And apparently you guys lost me and I talked about the Field of Dreams. Anybody ever seen the movie Field of Dreams? Anyone? Feel free just to give a 3 to 4 sentence description of the movie. What is the Field of Dreams? What is that movie about?
Build it and they will come.
Build it and they will come. Yes, 1989. Kevin Costner is the lead actor, and he hears a voice. He's an Iowa farmer, if I recall. So he has some land, and he hears this voice that tells him to clear out a part of his land, make it a field of dreams for them to play baseball. Who's them? A bunch of ghosts, essentially. These ghosts are going to come and play the game of their lives, which is kind of funny to say, the irony of it, because they're ghosts. But all these legends of old will come and play at the Field of Dreams. Heard a voice, it initiated an action out of him, and he did this. And it's just, that's what the Field of Dreams is. And the reality is that that's a lot like a Sky Zone was in the early goings back in the day. You build a Sky Zone and they're coming. It's a destination. There's not a whole lot of us at that time. That first year is like the golden year. You build it, they will come. I liken it to the Field of Dreams. Very similar to where we're at with Slick City. Many of our parks are a destination. They'll travel 2+ hours from afar just to enjoy the slides. Why? Because it's the first of its kind. And so it's a Field of Dreams. The getting is good, but the getting won't always be good. And we need to set our guests up to have great guest experiences so they keep coming back. So we'll talk about that a little bit here. And the last stop here on my history of selling outside of the trampoline park world, I did break away, as some of you know, into the world of the gym world, which, man, that's all about memberships all day, every day. It's all you do is sell memberships. If you're not making calls, we would do 200 cold calls a day. Can you imagine? With a staff of 3 or 4, you're making cold calls, 200 of them. Pretty awful, actually. But we got results. We did extremely well. But the way we had to do it, I'd be on a call with my DM at 9 o'clock, talking about the results of the day and why we didn't hit the day before. We were talking again at 11 a.m., again at 2 p.m., and again at 7 p.m. before you left on the day. 4 times a day, you were talking about results. It was crazy. And I'm not saying that's what we're going to do. Let us never be. But we shouldn't have to get there. Why? Because we need to discover the greater good. We need to do what's right for our guest. And that's offered to them every guest, every time. In the case of Sky Zone right now, Summer Pass, and really the memberships, right? We'll talk more about that in a minute. So that's a little credibility to my name. I've sold some things over my time and tenure historically. And I have all the same reservations you have about sales. Is it a manipulation? Do I really believe in what I'm selling? Belief actually happens to be a major motivator as to whether you'll sell well or won't sell at all. Okay, we'll talk a little bit about that as well. So what challenges do you guys have with selling? Let's be honest, be bold. 1 or 2 of you, what's the challenge you have with selling?
I think the one thing that I have is when you're so focused on, like, obviously there's like a line and trying to get people through, like, I'll be honest with you, like, I try my hardest every guest every time, but, and then you forget, people buy stuff online and you forget to tell them about the membership or the pass because they can upgrade that, even with the Groupons too. Like, there's just some challenges where it's like, they buy online or they do this and then you just forget to, promote the upsell. So that's probably a challenge that I have. I don't know about, like I said, my team, but I don't think a lot of the team even knows about, you can upgrade your Groupon, you can upgrade your online purchase to get a membership, things like that.
No, I appreciate the honesty and the forthrightness. And yeah, we're not doing this in a vacuum. We're doing this live, loud music, crazy traffic, parties showing up. I get that. If I may, I'll just press a little further on you. Do you ask for a waiver every time?
Oh, absolutely. 100%. That's the number one thing.
Why?
Well, if you don't have a waiver, you can't jump. So,
The right thing
and
to
it's
do.
required for safety.
Yep, it's the right thing to do. Absolutely. Okay, awesome. Love it. Who else? What are challenges? Motivating the team? That should be one of them. I have a hard time motivating the team. Maybe I took somebody's. One other. What's a challenge you have with selling?
If I may, knowledge of the product. So here in Slick City, when I first came here and I asked about passes and memberships, I was told, oh, we don't really have those. And then obviously Slick City and Sky Zone, there are going to be differences between the two at this time, but rolling into us starting to be able to sell them and talking with team members about them, they're like, oh, I don't know how to do that. I didn't know we had passes. They didn't know we had the spring pass. I was the first person to actually mention it in our park to some of them. And so just knowing about the product, but then also understanding how it operates and how to ring it up. So knowledge in general, that's going to be your first step, in my opinion, to conquering any task.
It's beautiful. There may or may not be a slide on knowledge, or at least building trust, which is largely tied to how knowledgeable you are, right? I don't know anybody that can convince me otherwise if I don't find them to be somewhat knowledgeable about what they're selling. So awesome. I totally appreciate that share, especially from the world of Slick City. That's very helpful. Very good. Very good. Well, excellent, guys. We know this. It's about overcoming objections, or, well, what if it's not? What if it's actually not about that at all? And again, what I don't want to do here is on this sales leadership call is give you 1,000 different strategies. I don't have those 1,000 strategies. I may have a few, I may have a handful, but there's not any one size fits all strategy, although we will deploy one or two things towards the back end of the call. But is it about overcoming objections? We're taught that for a bit that it is, right? How do I get them? And that's that manipulation piece, or it can feel that way. They're going to say no. And how do I get them to say yes? How do I work against their will to get them to say yes, to get them to come over to my side of the table? So what if it's not about that at all? What if we press a little further? In fact, speaking of what, I've been obsessed with what, how, and why. Anyone who has been around me the last month or two, it's probably come up in conversation here and there. What, how, and why. And I want that to sort of be the framework in which we kind of work out of when we do this call today. What, how, and why. So first and foremost, what do we do at Innovative Heights? What do we do at Slick City? What do we do at Sky Zone? Real quick, what do we do here?
Make money.
Provide memories, guest experience.
Yep. Rapid fire, guest experience. I heard make money somewhere in there. Okay, make money, guest experience, make memories.
Make it fun.
Make it fun, make it fun. I like it. Anything else? Great starting point. It's also the same starting point that your team has. Just be cognizant of that, right? What do they do here? What are we doing? I'd like to make an argument that, you know, again, core values need to be something in the mix. Are we not about play in our parks? What do we do? Well, really what we're doing is play. So it's more than just selling. It's about play. And honestly, you know, the guest experience will never surpass the team member experience. So our team members ought to be having a great time. And that's not a free-for-all, but they should be having fun with it. Let's have some competition. Let's celebrate. Let's ring the bell. Let's really encourage one another, and let's have fun, because yeah, when we're selling, we're actually winning, and winning is fun. I don't know many teams that seek to go lose on the field, or they'll stop going to play unless you're the ghosts in Field of Dreams, right? Where the game maybe doesn't matter. So play, it's more than just selling. So I'll make the argument we need to have more play in our parks in the area of selling even. Call it role plays, yes. So play, it's more than just selling. But let's get back to the what, or really let's dive further into the what. Say you hire someone today. We've been hiring as of late. You hire Johnny, good old Johnny. We know what Johnny's going to be in the business. He's Johnny Court Monitor or Johnny Action Monitor. So we hire Johnny. He goes home and he talks to mom or dad, one or the other, maybe both. And he says, Mom, Dad, I got the job. Wow. Oh, wow. You got the job. Where did you get the job at? I know you were interviewing at a few different places. He says, Slick City. I got a job at Slick City. They look at it and say, what in the world is Slick City? And he says, oh, it's that slide park, the place with all the slides, the new place in Chesterfield. Oh, okay. Awesome. What's the next thing they're going to ask? What's the next thing mom or dad's going to ask them?
What are you going to be doing?
Boom. What are you going to be doing there? Now, there's always one that says, how much money you're going to make, right? And there's truth to that, right? I don't know anybody here is volunteering, right? We're getting paid to do this. But yeah, that's the question. What are you going to do there? And how they answer that, even off the hop, off the beginning. We want to talk about retention or even bringing new people into our business. Because really, let's just be honest, when we're trying to bring people into our business to work for us, work with us, we're selling them on something. We're selling them on what we do. And hey, we want you to be a part of it. And so when we talk about selling, guys, and we talk about the what, it could be simple as sales associates currently, if they were asked, they would say, I ring people up. Have you heard that before? What do you do? Just ask your people today on a slow Monday. What do you do as a sales associate? I ring people up. But what if they were to say, I explain all the ways to play in our park to our awesome guests? That would include memberships, summer passes, getting waivers, you name it. What if we reframed the way they saw their position? We added some play to it. Give them more purpose to what they do. You might find your retention come up. Not that it's bad in all parks. Some parks are worse than others. But I also think we would sell better just based on what they do in the business. What about monitors? Action monitors, court monitors. I make sure people don't break rules. Johnny Court Monitor said to his mom, I just make sure people don't break rules. Or I oversee areas of play in the park, ensuring that it's safe, clean, and fun for every guest. A little bit of a pivot. What about events? I host birthday parties. Oh, no, that's not bad. But what if it was reframed as I am a critical component of creating memorable moments with facilitating the best birthday ever? Encapsulated in that is purpose for what they do and the role they play in making it happen. And just another one for conversation. Greeters, I welcome people into the park. How about this? I am the beginning of play for every guest entering my park. Personalized it, right? My park. I'm the beginning of play. There's a little bit of pride there. Just some different ways to look at it. Because it is about the guest experience. I was asked the other day, I was talking with one of my GMs, how well we're doing on sales and or the struggle we were having in his park at the time. What can we do differently? And I said, well, right now, sell to the people in your park, yes. And that's one thing at the sales associate counter, but it's at every position we sell. We sell at every position. Believe it. 90% of the interactions happen up at your attractions. You're selling something. You're selling a repeat visit. You're selling word of mouth that will travel from your park to say, hey, you've got to go out there. It was an amazing experience. It was a Costco experience. I go there for the Kirkland brand stuff, but I go there and it's a warehouse for crying out loud, and I get excited about it. You're creating a brand. Yes, we have the brand. It's Innovative Heights, encapsulating Sky Zone, Slick City. It's what we do. We run adventure parks, trampoline parks, you name it. But when it's all said and done, everybody plays a part in selling. It's how we frame it. Give a great guest experience. Look at your SMG. That right there will help you in your sales, just doing that. Let's talk about the how, guys. How? How do we do this thing? Selling, or just how do we do what we do? How do we do it? But let's make it about sales. How do you sell? What's your thoughts out there? How do you sell?
Being genuine.
Love it. Genuine. You're the genuine article. Love it. What else?
By explaining the value.
Value. Excellent. What else? What else? About this. This was talked about earlier. Building trust. Wasn't spoken in that way, but we build trust. In a transaction of minutes, knowledge and confidence is a winning combination. anyone I've ever sold to with any measure of excellence or just ability to hit it is building trust. You may not have, this is not selling a house. This isn't building rapport over a series of hours or days or whatever. It's building trust. In a transaction of minutes, knowledge and confidence is a winning combination. Do we not have on SMG knowledgeable team member? We do, right? The more you know and the more reps you have at doing it, the more coaching around it, you're going to have confidence to execute when it matters. And that's going to build trust. Okay. There's a winning combination with knowledge and confidence tied together. It builds trust between us and the guest. It's in a transaction of minutes, but we can build that trust. Some other things we do. Well, we dabble in this thing called emotional reasoning. I don't want to dive too far into it because then I'll be talking about how you sell to different filters. But this is something that's just there. Again, we're human beings. And so a lot of this happens. Sales and buying in particular tie back to how do I feel about it? What's the sights and the sounds and the smells and the feels of a Sky Zone or a Slick City when I walk into it? That alone ties into the emotional piece. Let me just think about how I feel about this for a moment. ... That happens day in, day out. It's emotional reasoning. And so again, it goes back to guest experience. Preparing a way, field of dreams, clear it out, they will come. But when they get there, you better be ready. You better be ready, right? Because it's a sight, sounds, and smells kind of feely sort of job we do, right? And you know that. We know that when we have to give a great guest experience and have amazing facilities that keep people coming back. Goal setting. Love it. Goal setting. And we do this every day, or we should, right? Pre-shift, post-shift huddles. Let's talk about the goals at hand. Let's press in. And we also do it not just through goal setting, but we go through a mentality of stop looking for the right opportunity. Instead, handle all opportunities right. Aaron, you said this earlier. I'd like to say, you didn't say it this way, but I'll paraphrase it on your behalf. Hopefully you're okay with that. Something along the lines of, I'd like to say I ask every guest every time, but you know it doesn't happen. Some of our team members are just not doing it because, well, they're looking for the right opportunity. But what if they looked at every opportunity as the right opportunity and stopped making the decision for the guest? From the first person walking through our doors to the last person, it's every guest, every time, no excuses. Well, they're coming from really far away, right? You're going to get those. I get that. But at the very least, let's work the skill set that we have at our disposal. Let's get better at this. So stop looking for the right opportunity. Instead, handle all opportunities right. And there's the goal setting. So while we're talking about goal setting, I want to just take a brief moment to talk about this and unpack it further. How do you track sales in your park? How do you track progress? Go ahead.
We have a membership board that has people's names and then how many memberships they've sold and then how many ices they've sold.
Excellent, excellent. And that goes pretty well for you. Who else?
We are doing the same thing, membership and IC add-on sales goal board.
Awesome. Awesome.
And we also have, Emma sends out on, as far as tracking goes, she sends out on Monday and then on Friday, she sends out this is where we're at. And then like you're in first place, this person's coming up in second place, like kind of she drives the competition for it.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Awesome. Now, if you're sitting there going, well, we don't really have a way we track. Talk to a neighbor, phone a friend, right? We need to leverage what each of us has. Not everybody does everything exceptionally well or has mastered any one area. Some do things better than others, and that's fine. That comes with having multiple parks. But we all have something to offer one another. And at the end of the day, we need to better utilize who we have as far as from park to park goes. The skill sets that are in this room. We have so much knowledge on this phone call right now, so much knowledge. And there's a lot of people who are not on this that have a lot of knowledge too. But just on this call alone, a ton of knowledge. Awesome. So be thinking, how do you track sales in your park? And if you see a park that does pretty well in sales, it may just be because they track it fairly well, just the same. I've been in park systems in the past where we tracked every sales associate from every park, and you did not want to have a goose egg. And there was like a list of 100 people, quite literally between, I don't know, 9 parks at the time, where it had everybody's name on there. It wasn't a shame list. It was a reality check. Were you the guy that had the 0 and you weren't contributing to your team? Okay. You got to make your minutes count. And we need to get out of this sort of mentality. Even our best performers, top parks, and I know it's Maine, it's slower, but even before that, it was like 2 people sold from the park, which leaves a manager or GM in the particular going, oh man, I only got 2 people who really sell. Just imagine if everybody did to their fullest capability in selling outside those 2 people. Crazy, right? Compounding revenue. Summer passes, $80. Eliminating where we're eliminating sort of that deficit that we're dealing with right now and trying to manage getting our sales back on track to have a stronger finish to second quarter. All right. Robert Collier says this, success is the sum of small efforts repeated day in and day out. You see it in sports all the time. Able to shoot a certain, Steph Curry, right? He can hit that 3. And obviously there's some skill there. There's some natural talent. But there's also it being the success of small efforts repeated day in, day out. It's a habit. It's a habit for him. We need to form habits. There is no one key to this. There is, though, doing this day in, day out, shift in, shift out. Because it's simple, but it's not easy. Have you ever thought about it? It's actually simple. All the things we're going to talk about and have talked about, it's simple, but it's not easy. Aaron mentioned, well, I know I need to ask every guest every time, but it's not always easy. Really, right? Simple, but it's not easy. Practicing the basics over and over. So here are some things that are simple but not easy. Communicating. Man, we could use a communication 101 course for so much of our team. It's just reality. Learning how just to speak. It's a need. Communication. Expressing the benefits. Hearing no, and then going beyond the no, right? Coaching the same stuff over and over and over again. Giving the why. Giving the why behind what you're asking them to do. So speaking of why, it's now time to go into the heart of the matter, the real nitty gritty. What makes this whole thing tick? Let's go to the heart of the matter. And it's this, why? Why? Why should people work at your park? Why should people buy your membership? Why should they not go 2 miles down the road to Urban Air? We do have people who go past a launch or an Urban Air or wherever, right? A movie theater to come to us. And they'll tell us, and many don't. And there's others that pass us up to go elsewhere. That truly does happen too. So we need to better understand the why. This is a huge part of the puzzle. It's actually the biggest part of the puzzle with any business that's worth anything. Yeah, Apple makes computers and they make cell phones, but people buy into the why. They're not buying into just because they make exceptional cell phones. Some would argue, that I just like the OS, I like the operating system, but they're actually buying into something more. They're buying into the why, and we need to better understand our why. So a clear sense of why is needed. It's what we're all trying to figure out. And it's also what your team is trying to figure out. Why do they want me to sell these summer passes, these memberships? I just don't get it. I don't get the push. I'm not saying you're not explaining it to them, but we need to have a clear sense of why. And can I just tell you, here are just some of my thoughts around a clear sense of why. And I'll just really make it simple. The greater good. Why do we sell? Because I believe in addition and multiplication being better than subtraction and division. Quite honestly. Other than I want less debt, less death, less disease. For the most part, multiplication and addition is always better than subtraction and multiplication or division. Almost always, right? More money in our business, more renovations, more locations, more guests, more opportunities for all involved, improved present, and a brighter future overall. That's the greater good. But my why goes even deeper. Why did I jump back into Innovative Heights in August of 2021? Because I enjoyed this industry. But why did I pursue to make the parks more safe, clean, and fun? And we're not fully there yet, but we're working every day to get better. But for me, my why was I have 3 kids at home that I need to have the pride of them to bring them into the parks that I'm overseeing and say, well, that's safe, clean, and fun. My kids could jump there. My kids could go in that park and they could have a great time, right? What's your greater good? What's your why? That's important. And we got to dig that out. We got to figure into the equation what the why is. So while we're at it, what's your why? What's your team's why? You can borrow any one of these or you can add your own. Why are we selling? At least 2 or 3 of you. Why are we selling?
So I actually have a question on this one. So a good portion of my staff here are all in the mindset of I only have this job because my parents told me to get a job. It's honestly the first time I've ever had to deal with this kind of mindset. And it is challenging to find different ways to motivate, inspire, connect, and drive certain team members to be able to meet standards and actually perform better. And I'm also in a staffing situation where I can't just, hey, you're not really performing to the level we want, so we're going to part ways. So what would your advice be in helping? Because you can't, from my experience, you can't change somebody else's mind. They have to change it for themselves. So how would you recommend handling the situation?
Yeah, no, it's awesome. It's really good. It's really good. Yeah. And I'm happy you said, I'm not in a position to change your mind either, right? But here you are, right? Intrinsic, you are motivated to be here, and that's awesome. Parents told them to get a job, job X, and they're doing job X and they're enjoying it. But really, how do you motivate them to stick it out? Especially when you're working from only a limited staffing model. I had a park that I was overseeing some years ago now. And it was right before the pandemic hit, and I was helping out in an increased role there in lieu of not having a GM at that park. We had 18 people. He allowed the park to get to a place of 18, and it was a park doing significant business at the time. They just went through a renovation. We had just unloaded memberships on the world in that park, in that system. And it was a park system in which a lot of the area, the communities that fed into it from a staffing aspect were kids that didn't need jobs. They came from really good places where there was money, essentially, and hate to make it about that, but that's just reality, where they didn't have to work. In fact, in that town, we only had 2 people in a staff of 60 when we started that park that actually were from the town in which the park was in. Let's just put that out there. 2 out of a team of 60 were from the city in which the park's at. I'm not going to say I have a full answer here other than some things that I've done historically. As a leader, not only the bar that I set as a standard is the standard, yes, but I won't let that standard come down. And sometimes, yes, there's some friction there because we need to run an operation. You can't turn away the dollars, not while it's good. But here's something you can do is, what's your why? Why do you do this? Honest question. Why do you do this?
So one of the reasons why I do what I do is, and why I liked going into management, I liked being able to develop and cultivate my team that I was in charge of, to provide them opportunities I felt I never got when I was in their positions. And it's also developing me further for whenever I continue to pursue my own career aspirations.
Awesome. Awesome. Does your team know that?
Absolutely.
Awesome. There's half the battle. So it's never an overnight success story. It is a lot of just going at it day in, day out, swinging the bat, hoping you're going to hit something. You're swinging, and eventually something's going to land. There is no surefire automatic, just like there is with sales. It's like there's not some surefire way to do it, and presto, magico, magic words. That's my next slide, actually, I believe. There is no magic words. There's no hocus pocus, no Shazam. And yeah, we're all riddled with different staffing challenges. We really are. Some of us have an influx of people coming through our doors that want to work for us, but then the work ethic is not there. Some of us have only one person drives into the park. Everybody else is busting. So that makes it hard on the labor piece. That makes it hard on the staffing aspect. That makes it hard to cut where you need to cut because it's not so easy for them to move around. Phone a friend and they'll all tell you, and I know that's not why you mentioned this. You're actually looking for help, which is awesome. somebody on the line is going to have a portion of the answer. They won't have the full answer, but they'll have a portion of the answer because someone's gone through what you're going through presently. Like I did. I went through that in 2018 with a park in some respect, and I brought it from 18 to 40 or so. A lot of it was vision casting. A lot of it was 1v1s, just one-on-ones with my team. Yeah, them getting to know better my heart, what I wanted, and building that rapport and that relationship. I won't say that that's the full, complete thing, and we'll have to take it offline to talk further about it. But do know I'm willing to talk to you further about it. I just don't want to eat up the whole call on that. Is that helpful at all? At least a little bit? All right.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
No worries. No worries. Sir and me. I had a birthday this year. Sir and me. Okay. Appreciate that. Yeah, I don't want to make light of it. If it were that easy, we'd all be doing it. And I don't claim to have all the answers, not even the slightest. Anybody have something I didn't say about that could help them out? Anyone that could help out Reese with that?
I mean, you can always try and make it relatable for the team members. You know, a lot of them go out and enjoy entertainment with their friends and family. So, you know, when they go out with their friends and family, what kind of experience are they expecting? What kind of guest service are they expecting when they go to a fancy restaurant and order a steak dinner and so forth? And, you know, they celebrate their birthday, they would expect great guest service. And our guests are the same way. So that's how I kind of just make it relatable to them in any way possible. You know, and then they have a different perspective on it when they go to work.
Absolutely. Love it. Thank you, Kevin. I'll add to this. I don't see Devin on here. Devin does something really well with his team. He struggles just with some of the area that he has to pull from the staffing aspect and motivating. And then I did this historically too, not knowing I was doing this. And he vocalized it really well on a chat that I had on the North Regional group here that I'm a part of. He said he always tries to tie it back to what their life aspirations are. You yourself said you have life aspirations. You have career aspirations. So do your people, right? And it may not be to work at Slick City, Chesterfield, their whole life or whatever, right? Or even for the next 3 years, 5 years, whatever. But they have some sort of aspiration. And actually tying that back to what they're doing today is something that is really helpful. Yeah, you may have just got this job because your parents told you to. But what are you wanting to do in life? What are you trying to pursue outside of this? And they may not have a full picture. Most don't, by the way. They're young, right? In fact, it's kind of crazy when they do. It's like, wow, you're rare. But yeah, tying it back to what their pursuit is in life, I think that's a winning combination too, right? It goes back to purpose. And I definitely think that's something you could do too. So awesome. Thanks for the share, Kevin. So the greater good, the why. What are we going for? It's the why. Why do we do what we do? Because here's the reality. We sell from our why. Up until this point, maybe we haven't been selling from our why. We've been selling from somewhere else. We've been selling from a competition. We've been selling from an incentive. We've been selling because your regional manager bugs you on a Saturday morning to just get after it. Set a goal, get loud, be proud, all that stuff, right? But we sell from our why. Everywhere you go, you're being sold to. I get that. There's billboards. There's someone selling you. And I don't know anybody who goes, I love being sold to. But when it comes from a place of passion, when it comes from like that question at the top, the brand, you all had no problem selling me on why you love Nike or why you want to go to Costco, right? In fact, you guys all had me buying up what you buy up just by the way you talked about it. So we sell from our why. We need to understand why we're here and what we're doing. But again, most importantly, the why piece, because that's where we sell from. There's no magic word, guys. There's a lot of words, a lot of phrases that work fairly well. They can be very effective. Stuff like, boy, do I have a deal for you. I want to help you save some money today. It's a limited time offer. It's only $1 more, so on and so forth. Seriously, most people purchase the membership. All the way to, so my park is running a competition against another park, ... Please don't do that. I've heard that before. Will it be a basic or elite for you today? Whatever it is, one of my favorites, will this be on your membership today or will you be paying? There is no magic word. There is no Shazam. There's no magic phrases. However, there is a way in which you can deliver it in an effective way. talking about sales and actually getting to the nitty gritty, the rubber meeting the road, kind of taking the what, the how, and the why. I want to talk about this effect in sales. I don't know if anyone's ever heard of the hammock effect. Hammocks are good for something, but not for selling. The hammock effect is this: as time progresses, the attention wanes in a sale. So think of attention being at the beginning 70%. And in our parks, it might be lower. Guests walk in, it's the sights, the sounds, the smells. I got to do a waiver. Where am I at? I'm all discombobulated. It may not even be 70%, to be honest with you. It's a lot going on. But at the beginning, we have their attention mostly. As time goes on, somewhere in that middle section, whether it's a 3-minute spiel or a 5-minute spiel, which it rarely is, that's where you're actually having like the benefit. That's like the fluff in the middle of the Oreo cookie. And that's where the getting is good. That's also where their attention wanes for whatever reason. Kids pulling on them. They're trying to figure out how they're going to pay for it, whatever it may be. 20% is where people are at from an attention span. And I would even say it might be lower in our parks, just because it's loud, it's sounds, it's the sights, it's all that, right? 20% in the middle. And that's when the getting's good, but their attention's at the lowest. And then it's 100% at the end. They perk, they come back up. And that's why it's like a hammock. So 70% at the top, somewhere around there, 100% at the end. Let's just wrap this thing up. But where the getting is good, the benefits, it's smack dab in the middle. We got to work on that. So when we think of the hammock, guys, like I said, it puts people to sleep. Instead, let's load the center of our passion pitch. We'll call it a passion pitch with attention keepers. Yep, we're going to do some attention getters, some magic words, phrases. We're also going to do some attention keepers, because here's the reality. Trampolines and slides have ups and they have downs. When we think of trampolines, the only difference between a hammock and a trampoline is the material, AKA what it's made of. The same thing goes with your sales pitch. What is it made of? What makes the difference between John, who does phenomenal, and I don't know, Becky, who doesn't do all that great at it? And they're saying the same thing. It's the way they go about it. So today, or towards the back end here, guys, we're going to talk about attention getters, reframing your attention getter to close. So you'll go back to your attention getter essentially, and right down the middle, attention keepers. The Rubik's Cube, got to finish it. We want to keep their attention. So the anatomy of a pitch, here it is. Attention getter is really the what and the how. Will this be on your membership or will you be paying today? It might be an expression like that. Could be something along the lines of, welcome to Sky Zone Shelby Township. Our best offer right now is to be able to play every day this summer for only $79.99. And don't rush it, guys. Don't rush this part. This is the attention getter. This is the bold step you take to selling. And then it's the attention keeper. And this is the why. This is where the getting is good. We have X amount of attractions, with the newest being, especially if you're newly renovated. Our members love whatever item they love about our park. One of the most popular benefits of our membership is ... Let me show you everything we have to do at the park. Members get to enjoy the following ... Summer is here. Nice days don't last, but kids' energy levels do. We know that they're going to be bouncing off the walls. Use visual aids, sights, sounds, tone and delivery, show passion. Minor point here, when I sold warranties or fire protection plans in the world of Toys R Us, I sell them on things like video games. I had a picture that I had printed from home of a cracked CD, DVD video game. That was always a visual aid I would use. For the $3 protection plan, you're buying a $60 game, a $50 game that, it's probably going to be in short order, scratched or broken in the next so many months. For $3 extra, seeing is believing, right? So visual aids, and man, we are a sight to behold. Look at our parks. I'm telling you, you have a way about, you guys could tour guide. I'm not saying you're gonna have a whole lot of time to do that, but could you not tour guide from behind the counter? Absolutely, you could. You could speak to however many attractions you have, what people love about your park. You're not gonna do all these attention keepers, by the way, or you'd be there all day with them. But you will pick one or two of these, and you'll utilize this to your advantage. Keep their attention, look at your tone, your delivery, all that. Show your passion. And then attention getter rephrased. It goes back to the what and the how. Stuff like, are you taking advantage of having everyday access to Sky Zone this summer? Or, so you're looking to pay today. You do know for only $1 more, you have access all month, right? Okay. So that's it. The attention getter being rephrased. Real quick, what are some attention getters you use? Fire them off. What's an attention getter you use? What's a choice expression that you use? You guys got them.
Limited time offer.
What is it?
Limited time offer.
Love it.
Let me tell you about the specials that we have today. Today you're paying $22.99 and then taking the sheet and saying for just $1 more, your kids could jump every single day for the month, and you get this, and you get this, and you get this.
Yeah, you're the Girl Scout outside the grocery store selling the cookies. Okay, appreciate that. That's awesome.
True story.
Let me tell you. Knock, knock at my door. I hit the ground. I'm not home. I'm not home. All right, next up. I love it.
My usual one for memberships is get a membership today, come in twice a month, pays for itself.
Speak to the value. What else? Any other attention getters out there?
Mine's the same as Daniel. Just let them know how much they're going to be saving.
Could we get a visual that says you come in one time a month, it's $22.99. You come in 2 times a month, it's $44.99. You come in 3 times a month, it's this amount, so that they truly understand the benefit that they're getting.
I've always had a cheat sheet of sorts right there. It does the math for you essentially. And then, but from a visual aid standpoint, something that looks really clean and simple. Yeah, I think there's something there. Solution-based thinking, guys. I like it.
Kevin, coming from the urban air world, they had something like that, didn't they?
Yes, yeah, they did. It was on their website where it was like a toggle where you could drag to how many visits, and it showed you how much money you'd spend if you were to purchase it individually versus how much you would save if you would get the membership.
Gotcha. Yeah, I knew I saw it somewhere. I just couldn't remember where. It's on their website.
That's a really
awesome.
Good idea. You know, a lot of people, you know, they hear us say it all the time, and they always get pitched on everything, you know, every time they go into a place. But it's more when, you know, they see it. So I think that's a good idea for sure.
Cody, you were kind of hard to hear. I don't know if that was just on my end or.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you now.
Can you hear me now?
Awesome. Excellent. All right, so some attention getters love it. How might you keep their attention? How are you going to keep their attention while you're selling? How do you reduce the hammock effect?
I think when you asked me that question when we talked on Friday, I just, you know, I took that as like the way we keep their attention is to have a safe, clean, and fun park. I mean, they see their kids having fun, being safe, interacting with our employees. You know, and our employees going the extra mile to really, you know, make their experience better. I think that's how we keep their attention.
Yeah, yeah. I'm serious about this one. Give them the tour, show the value. And I know that doesn't fit into our world. In the fitness world is a little bit different. People make a decision to join a gym. I think I told you, Cody, it's 4 times. Actually, it's been updated. It's at least 5 times. They've made this like he and haw position of like, they shopped the website, they went to the parking lot, they did the 1-day pass to the gym. And I know we're not a gym, but it took them 5 times before they decided to commit to the gym membership. We had to ace a tour of our gym, and there was talking points through you go to the ellipticals, you had your talking points. It was built into the tour, and you had to ace it with your district manager. You had to ace this tour and then train it down to the next guy. Now we're not going to do that necessarily the tour, but could we not do something like that from behind the counter? Like if you have some new slides, why don't you get some specs on them? How tall they are, how far wide they are. If you're in a park like Shelby Township, you can't see the slides or the air court from where you're at, but tell them to poke their head around the corner. Take a look around, right? Look at all what we have here. There's ways you can tour them and really captivate them. Let's not lose sight of what we do is not common for most. Most people are coming off jobs that are nothing like our job, moms and dads, and they come to our parks and go, this place is crazy. Wow, holy smokes, especially at a new park like a Slick City. This is wild. Let's not lose that piece of the puzzle. Give them the tour, and there's ways to do that. Show the value. But like I said, it's tone, it's delivery. It might be magic words. It might be certain things you do with how you phrase things, but how are you going to keep their attention? And then last but not least, how do you wrap up your pitch? It should sound a lot like your attention getter. What are you doing to get their attention? Speak to the value, right? The potential of missing out on something, this limited edition, whatever it might be. How do you wrap up your pitch? All right. It's your turn now. You're going down the slide. You're going down, and you're going to have a great time. Again, reminder, attention getter, make the guest feel welcome, capturing their attention with the latest and greatest offerings. Attention keeper, this is where people fall asleep, but it's the section of your message that stresses the value of what you're offering. Don't let them snooze. Use visual aids, storytelling, show off your passion for the brand and for why others are buying and have bought. Attention getter, rephrase the offer. Go back to the beginning and bring it to a close. End with energy, use definitive, we're going to get this done type language and delivery. All right, we're going to break out into breakout groups here. I got 5 rooms created. It's 2 to 3 participants per room. We'll give you about 3 minutes to win it. Essentially, if there are 3 of you in a room, and this is going to be assigned automatically, not manually, so I could end up in a room with Wade and Michael. Who knows how this is going to work out? But if you're in a room and there's 3 of you, one is going to be the coach or just the manager, basically coaching back what they see within that 3 minutes. That's the 3 minutes. But one's going to sell, one's going to buy, and someone's going to coach in a room of 3. If it's a room of 2, you got a seller, you got a buyer. You want an attention getter, an attention keeper, make it your own, whatever it may be. And then how do you close it? Fair? Does that make sense? Can we do this? Are you guys alive? You okay? Everything's great. It's awesome. Here we go. Rock and roll. And getting ready to open up the rooms. Ooh, I got some nice assignments here. Ooh, okay, cool. I'm gonna set the timer here for 3 minutes, and we'll be back in just a moment. About a minute and a half, guys, left. If you're in a room of 2, swap out. Seller becomes the buyer. And if you're in a room of 3, the coach back. Welcome back, Hannah. How did you sneak back in?
Not back yet. I'm having to print an invoice. I'm so sorry.
No worries.
Welcome back, sliders. Welcome
is
back,
your
jumpers. All right. All right. If I can get, once we get everybody back, they're a little slow to go here. They're kicked out of the room. At some point, you just think they would come back, but
Oh, I got kicked out.
Let's buy my membership.
I kicked y'all out. All right. All right. How
Cody
was that
bought a
experience?
membership.
What's that?
I said Cody bought a membership.
You guys are in a room together?
He's right next to me.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. You are in reality, in IRL. Okay, cool. Awesome. Very good. Very good. Any Brave group want to speak about how that went down on their end?
I want to fly out to Slick City right now and sign up for a membership after Camden told me on one.
Yeah. What did he do that captivated you?
He told me about the new slides, and there's actually one opening up today, he mentioned, which was really enticing to try it out. And then also the future plans of the business as well too, with potential mini go-karting. So really saw the benefits of signing up for a membership now.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Kudos to you, Camden. Kudos to you. Anyone else? What was your experience in the room? Were you buying?
In our group, it was Stephanie is the salesperson and we were the coaches. And Stephanie sold us the membership. She did it so well. So it was amazing.
Awesome. One more. What was the experience like?
Oh my God.
Hey, Camden and Kevin, would you be all right to do an encore? Do it again, a little repeat? Would you be okay to do that with the group for us?
Yeah. Camden, you want to start it off?
Yeah, I can. Basically, I just talked about, the big talking point I say, since we have the biggest slides.
Camden, I'm just going to interrupt you right here. Just sell it like you sell it, man. Don't explain it to me. Act the roll out. You got this.
All right.
You got this, man.
At Slick City, Denver, we have the biggest indoor slides that have ever been done before. With the 12 different attractions that we have here, we start with the launch slides up front and move towards the back where we have the berm slide, which is significantly slower and more of a beginner slide. We have the air courts, and then we also just got a new pump track slide installed. As you can see, the orange one just through the back there, which that's the one opening up today. And then soon for the company, we are going to be ripping out the back air court right by the soft play area. But not to miss, we do have the big air court in the very back right, which is the freestyle air court. And then behind the tarp, you'll see we're going to have 8 brand new go-karts running around. They're little ones. We're going to do 12 and under with them. And then I talked about the heights too. We have 30-foot ceilings, which means our slides go up to about, I think, 25 feet, I like to say, is what Gary said. Yeah. And then I do a little tour.
Beautiful. And you already did a form of a tour. I mean, you were touring me. I'm not out by you, but I felt like I was there. And Kevin wants to get on a plane, so there you go. Crazy.
I sent a picture of our slide in the chat as well.
Oh, nice.
Killer, man. Great job, Camden. And this is something you do with your team or can do with your team?
Yeah.
All day, every day. All day, every day. Awesome. Awesome job. And thank you for going first and letting me interject there. It's just, I didn't want you to go into sort of like explaining what you do. Just tell me what you do. Same thing with your people. Don't explain it. Sell me on it. Tell me it. And then we'll coach back. Beautiful. Who was the coach in your room, or was there not a coach?
It was just Kevin and myself.
Just the two of you. Okay. Fair enough. Fair enough. Stephanie, and thank you for going first. Awesome job. Awesome job. Stephanie, do your sales pitch. Who you selling? You sold. You sold to a coach even. Sales pitch.
I did. So, all right. So, were you looking to jump for 2 hours today? Of course you are. Yeah. That's fantastic. Well, today you're going to be spending $27.99 just for the jump time alone. Just for $2 more, you can jump every single day for the month. You're not locked into any long-term commitment. But with this, just for this $2 more, as I said, 2 hours every single day. The weather keeps changing. You might as well bring them in on these soggy days here. You get 20% off of the birthday party. I saw you checking out the packages over there, as well as 20% off of the Feel Zone. And for your little one over here, you have 20% off of our little Leapers programs, which are on Saturday mornings, which we have cool little characters and fun little coloring activities. It's just them, which is really, really nice. And we just put in all these new slides in this sports court. You guys can come check those out as well. What do you say today about jumping into our membership program?
Whoo, man, I think I got to jump in. Got to fill out that waiver first, but I'm jumping. Let's do it. Whoop, whoop. Absolutely.
Let's do it.
Excellent. Thank you. I'll do it. Emma's paying. Awesome.
I would honestly feel bad for not doing it after hearing that. Like, gosh, I don't want to.
Right.
Plus, who doesn't want to just come hang out with Stephanie like for a whole month? So, duh.
There you go. Awesome job,
Hey,
guys.
hey, Stephanie.
Awesome job.
Stephanie, have you ever tried selling ice cubes to Eskimos?
No, but I have tried selling $70 massage memberships, and I slayed it. I don't like doing that though.
That's awesome. You have a gift.
She does. Excellent job. Awesome. We're gonna do this one more time because there is something about doing this more than once, right? It's that repetitiveness. It's the building a habit. And I know you guys do this from day in, day out, but it's helpful for us as leaders, grouped together, captive audience.
I'm not interested in talking to her about that.
To do this together. All right. So 5 more breakout groups. You know the gist. You know what we're trying to do. We're not going to do it for 3 minutes. We'll do it for 2. Got to get your sales on. Keep the attention all the way through. Let's rock and roll. Recreate this right here. And open the rooms. We'll do it for 2 minutes. Rock and roll. Welcome back,
We
jumpers.
get kicked out pretty quickly, don't we?
Yeah. It's pretty abrupt. Welcome back, jumpers. All right, excellent. Feel bad. I don't think Kevin was with anybody. You were by yourself, weren't you, Kevin?
Yeah, I took a little break, sold the membership to myself.
Yeah. I almost joined your group. Hannah didn't join up. She was back with me for whatever reason. She left the room. So
I was going to ask if you were successful or not, Kevin.
yeah, I was about to join your group. I was going to ambush you, but I didn't. So. Oh man, oh man.
Played
Excellent.
myself in
Awesome.
chess the other day. I lost.
All right, guys, due to time, I do want to kind of wrap up the call. But this is an exercise we should be doing in our parks, right? It doesn't take a Zoom room to do this. These are role plays. Hopefully, as a coach, you're giving feedback. You're asking questions like, well, what did you like about your pitch? Or what would you have done differently next time if you had a little bit more time to think through it, especially after hearing some of the objections, hearing some of the things that maybe were pressing against the sale, right? But after doing it a second time, is there any one person who felt like, and this is the buyer telling on the seller, but in a good way, that you thought, man, he or she just did a phenomenal job? Any one buyer thought the seller was amazing? Be bold. Michael just gave the thumbs up. Who was buying? Who was selling? You're muted, bud.
I was buying. Cody was selling.
There we go. I couldn't unmute. It wouldn't let me. I kept hitting it. And it's like not working. I'm like, this is dumb.
There you go. Okay. So who was buying? Who was selling again? I'm sorry.
Who was buying? Who was selling?
Yeah, who was buying and who was selling?
Team Canton. I had Cody and oh God. I apologize.
Matt.
All right, Matt. That's all right.
Matt,
Yeah,
that's
they
what I thought it
didn't
was.
have
I'm like, I didn't want to
room.
call a different name. I'm like, oh, I'm gonna call him something wrong.
All right. What was great about your exchange there in Canton?
He talked about the
great?
benefits. I really like that he brought up the Fuel Zone. A lot of people like to go to Fuel Zone after that. And so he was talking about the benefits of discounts on Fuel Zone and future glow events and stuff like that.
Yeah. Awesome. Did you keep the attention? Attention keeper?
Yes. I mean, it's hard when they're talking to each other that are side by each other, but yes.
Right. Outside the logistics of it all. But really that's what happens in our parks too, right? And that's
True.
You're literally in front of the person. So.
Made it easier.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Awesome. Very good. Very good. Excellent, guys. Well, thank you for playing along. Again, it is about play, attention getters, attention keepers, reducing the hammocking effect, making it more like a trampoline. It's what it's made of. There is no magic word or phrase, but there are better words and there's better phrasing. And there's for sure a way we can deliver it with a better tone and all that, right? Using visual aids, storytelling. I wrote down visual sort of cheat sheet. I think that would be very helpful. Thank you, Stephanie, for that. But this is something we should be doing day in, day out, shift in, shift out to get everybody on board. Because again, guys, if you build it, they will come. Feel the dreams. The key part of that is, though, if. If is where it's at, guys. If we take what we learned here and we do something about it. That is actually at the center of these calls from day one. There are people who know they need to have leadership development at all levels, but only so many, a very low percentage of people do anything about it. It's the if. If we take something from here and we do something about it. If we set goals every day without somebody having to chase you down to tell you to set a goal, right? Just do it every day. Set a cadence, set a habit. Get everybody asking every guest, every time, no excuses. Don't make the decision for the guest by not asking. Don't wait till guest number 16 to start to ask, to start to present. We ask every guest every time, and we lead in such a way. It all comes down to the if. Per the usual, what is your one takeaway from this call that you can put into action? Rapid fire. I'd like to hear from at least two of you. Put it in the chat, though. What are you taking from this call? There was a lot here on this call. What are you taking from it?
I know that I missed the breakout group because I was dealing with something, so I'll speak. I was taking notes throughout it just on little things, and something Stephanie said stuck out to me because I'm huge on delegation. But the one thing I haven't really delegated is just like driving, sales and, bringing that competition and things like that. So that's something that I'm going to implement moving forward is delegating that to one of my managers, really having them update our sales board because it doesn't get updated like it should, making it like 2 times a week, someone's updating a tracking sheet. I really stuck out to me. And it sounded like a really good way to, hold the team accountable and make sure it's being done every day. So yeah.
Awesome.
Thank you, Stephanie.
Awesome. Excellent. Very good. Very good. What else? Who else is taking something from this call? The buffet of food out on the table. No matter what your diet is, there's something for you on this call. What are you pulling from the table?
I wrote down the quote, stop looking for the right opportunity and start treating every opportunity right.
Yeah.
That was really good because you have opportunities all the time. And this actually goes further than just selling, but you have opportunities all the time. It's like, and they're always being given like all the time, but especially for selling, like every guest is an opportunity. If you are doing the best you can with what you have, then like you will be ready for the one that is maybe the right opportunity, so to speak. But you might even create some opportunities or see some opportunities that you weren't before by treating everyone the same way.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. Yeah, the opportunity piece. I think understanding the why, what your why is, selling somebody on from your why, right? It's one thing to sell and feel like a manipulation piece. I know it's in the Leadership 101 class. There's a slide that says, why do we exist basically as a business? Well, to make money. And there's a lot of truth to that, but that's true for every single business since the beginning of time. Why are you selling? Why are you here? Why do you love what you do? If you love what you do, that should be a catalyst for driving you to sell. Just basically, I want to share that. I want to share what I enjoy. And we've all been there and we've done that. We shared a brand, and every time it's an opportunity. It's always an opportunity. Awesome. What else? One more person, one takeaway from the call. Go ahead.
You guys might have talked about this. I had to step out for a second, but it hit me in the midst of it, and it may or may not have been talked about. But I remembered kind of from a past life which you were in the other trampoline world. When we did interviews, we would have them sell us stuff, and that would be just part of the interview itself. And I was like, why aren't we doing this? Why aren't we having our team just that's part of even the interview process where they are telling us why they would choose an iPhone over a Android. Why would we not be doing that? That's just preparing them for what they're already going to be doing. Yeah, not necessarily the phone conversation, but it goes back to the very, very beginning of when you ask, sell me what's your favorite brand and why.
Yeah. I went out for a job at 16 to work at the Warner Brothers store at the mall, and I actually got the job, but I took a different job at the bookstore that I ended up working at, and one of my first jobs, and we had to sell a pen, a run-of-the-mill Bic pen. Why would you buy this pen? And I had to sell a pen, and apparently I did a really good job. But yeah, that's a core thing, right? Selling. A lot of times I use, what gets you excited in life? And usually it's some sport, or if they're a fan of something. I said, that's where you get loud, you get excited, you draw the emotion. Why aren't you doing that here? Right? And it's easier than just eliciting that to happen. But bring the passion. Make it about the pitch. And Stephanie, you're very passionate when you pitch. You can hear it and you can feel it. And people buy with emotion. So that's a good thing, right? Awesome. Yeah. So the selling thing. Yeah. With the selling a pen or something. We all know hammocks aren't good. They put you to sleep. I mean, they're nice, but they put you to sleep, right? Get to the core of your message and do what you have to do to kind of spruce it up. Get a coach on board with you when you're selling, or be the coach for another person while they're selling. That goes deep and that goes far.
I'd just like to add here on what Evan and Dawson put in the chat, because I think oftentimes we don't think of our court monitors as sales associates, and they really are. They should be selling, like if they see little kids in there with mom and dad, they should be saying, hey, do you know we got little leapers? That's every Saturday at whatever time. You can bring them here and you don't have to, jump with all the big kids and all that stuff. They can sell programs and things like that. But not only that, they could be talking to the guests, and that hopefully our cashiers have pitched them on the memberships. And then they're up on the courts and then say, oh, are you a member? Are you a new member? Haven't seen you here before. And they're like, no. And they hear membership again. And then maybe they're thinking, gosh, we're having fun. We should maybe think about that membership after all, come back and potentially add it on. So I think we sometimes only focus on our cashiers when it comes to selling, but there's a big opportunity on our courts with our court monitors as well.
Oh, absolutely. It's courts, it's greeter, it's fuel zone staff, you name it, right? It's across the board. And yeah, that's a great get. It's you've heard me say it before, and I'll say it again. There's no dull position at Sky Zone. There's no throwaway position. And sometimes a common thing will be like with a sales associate, well, if you're not going to do this, you're going to be moved over to somewhere else. We'll move you to courts or whatever. I think that's, I get why that's said. I think that we should often be careful of saying that, because it almost depreciates a role in our business that makes up about 90% of the guest experience. That's a slippery slope. Their role is equally important, and they can sell from that place because that is the experience piece, right? That's what's going to keep people coming back. So great get. That's a great get. Awesome. Very good. Cool. Thank you for the shares, everyone.
I would challenge everybody when in your next in-park meeting with your team members is to do some of this training with your cashiers and court monitoring, and same role playing that Lance did today, because it really is, it's a muscle that you got to continue to work at and do. So just words of wisdom.
Totally. I appreciate that. Yeah, I love this sort of thing. That I did a door-to-door sales gig for a little bit. And you literally lined up sellers and buyers, and you just kind of did like a little do-si-do, the little wrap up. And they were like 30-second, like hit them hard, hit them fast, get all the nose out is what we would call it. Get the nose out. And you would literally go around, and it was aggressive, but it eliminated that whole like fear of being told no and losing your first 5 to 10 guests based on that alone, which is crazy. Yeah, this exercise really does help. So appreciate that. I don't need the response here. Maybe put it in the chat though. You don't have to get vocal about it. But really, why does it matter to you? Why does it matter to you that Chesterfield's doing buco dollars, buco business? Hey, they're in St. Louis. Why does that matter so much? See outside of just your own park. It matters. Well, let's go back to the greater good, right? That's why it matters. It matters when one park's doing well, because we're all then doing that much better as a result. But why does it matter to you? Why does it matter to you in your park? For you to have an exceptional day in selling versus a day that you don't. Just look at labor. If that's not a tell, I don't know what is. It matters because if they don't make the decision to be with us today, they will make a decision to be at a competitor. I was just talking with the GM the other day about birthday parties, and he rightfully said, and I totally agreed, well, if we don't make a decision very quickly to host their party with their whatever, right, their event with us, they ain't going to wait on us. They're going to go to the next trampoline park, the next adventure park. There's no shortage of it. The Field of Dreams, well, there's more of them now. They're out there, and people have built them, and people are going to them, right? So why does it matter to you? Let's figure that out. And you may find out once you do, if you don't have it down yet, your team will pick up what you put down in the form of your why. Why does it matter? And then last but not least, how do you plan to increase sales in your park? The expression is, fail to plan, plan to fail. How are you going to increase your sales in your park? Had one park recently tell me they're second in command. This was out in Grand Rapids. Hannah over there. Yep, there's another Hannah in the mix. Hannah over in Grand Rapids said, I'm planning for something in September or August with the PTA group. I said, let's get it on. Let's get it down. Let's get it down in September. because September is even a slower month than August. And let's get it down. Let's start filling up the days. Let's fill it out ahead of time. Let's do what we can to increase our sales, both with our present guests right in front of us and our future guests as well. And last but not least, guys, so please do write that down. How do you plan to increase sales in your park? Commit to something so that if I were to come back around, I'm not saying I'm going to, but I might, by the end of this call, or at least later today, I might reach out through WhatsApp and say, what's your plan to increase sales in your park? How will you create change to increase your sales, right? Could be role plays, could be whatever, right? What will you do? And last, as Innovative Heights guys, decide, commit, succeed. You've heard it many times before. This is the if we decide, if we commit, well, if we do both those things, we will succeed, no doubt. We got some great people on board here. We're going to do some amazing things through 2023. Let's keep at it. Let's keep having the conversation going around sales, driving traffic through our doors. I appreciate you guys. I know we went well over time. I told you this would run a little deeper. We did have a little tech snafu, but hopefully this time was well spent on your end. Thank you guys. Have a great rest of your day.
Thank you, Lance.
Thank you, Lance. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you guys.
Thanks, buddy.
Adios.
Adios.